I worked 2 jobs to put my son through college. I co-signed for that expensive car he said he needed for his career. Then he got promoted to senior manager and threw a huge celebration dinner. He invited everyone, colleagues, friends, distant relatives, everyone except me. I found out from a photo his wife posted online. I saw him celebrating the success I helped him build, surrounded by people who mattered to him, and I wasn't one of them. That's when I stopped paying for his car. Before the story begins, subscribe and tell me where you're watching from. My name is Gloria. I'm 68 years old, and I'm about to tell you how my son taught me that sometimes the people you sacrifice everything for are the ones who forget you the fastest. It started 30 years ago. I was a single mother. Adrian's father left when Adrian was 3, just walked out one Tuesday morning and never came back. No explanation, no goodbye, just gone. Left me with a toddler, a mortgage I could barely afford, and no college degree to fall back on. I worked at a grocery store during the day, cashier, minimum wage, standing on my feet for 8 hours, scanning items, smiling at customers even when my back ached and my feet screamed. Then at night, I cleaned office buildings downtown, vacuuming carpets, emptying trash bins, scrubbing toilets in buildings where people made more in a month than I made in a year. I did this for years, while Adrian was in elementary school, middle school, high school. I missed parent-teacher conferences because I was working, missed school plays because I had a shift, missed basketball games because someone had to pay the bills. But I made sure Adrian had what he needed: new shoes when his old ones wore out, school supplies, a computer for homework. I went without so he wouldn't have to. That's what mothers do. We sacrifice. We go without. We make it work. Adrian was smart, really smart. Straight A's all through school. Teachers loved him, said he had potential, said he could go places if he had the right opportunities. I held on to those words like a lifeline. My son was going to have a better life than I did. That became my mission, my purpose. When Adrian was a senior in high school, the college acceptance letters started coming. Good schools, expensive schools, schools I couldn't afford even if I worked 3 jobs instead of 2. I sat at our kitchen table one night with all the letters spread out in front of me. Financial aid forms, scholarship applications, loan documents, the numbers blurred together, tuition, room and board, books, fees. It was overwhelming. Adrian walked in and saw me sitting there, head in my hands. "Mom, you okay?" I looked up at him. My boy. Almost a man now, tall and confident in ways I'd never been. "I'm figuring it out," I said. "The money. For college. I'm figuring it out." Adrian sat down across from me. "Mom, you don't have to do this. I can take a gap year, work, save money, go to community. College first." "No." The word came out harder than I intended. "You're going to a 4-year university. You earned it. You worked hard. You're not starting at community college just because I don't have enough money." "But Mom, I'll figure it out, Adrian. That's my job. Your job is to study and make something of yourself." And I did figure it out. I took out Parent Plus loans, massive loans that would take me decades to pay back. I picked up extra shifts, worked holidays, worked weekends, worked until my body hurt so badly I could barely get out of bed in the morning. But Adrian went to college, a good college, state university with a respected business program. He came home that first Thanksgiving break, different, confident, polished, using words I didn't understand, talking about networking and personal branding and career trajectories. I listened and nodded and felt proud and also a little sad because I could see him outgrowing me. "How's school?" I asked over turkey I'd scraped together money to buy. "Incredible, Mom. My professors are amazing. I'm learning so much, and I've already made connections that could help me after graduation." "That's wonderful, sweetheart. There's just one thing." He hesitated. "Everyone there has nice clothes, professional clothes, for presentations and networking events. I feel like I'm showing up in clothes from high school while everyone else looks like they already work on Wall Street." I looked at him, at his worn jeans and faded polo shirt, at the shoes I'd bought him 2 years ago that were starting to fall apart. "How much do you need?" I asked. "Mom, you don't have to." "How much?" He named a figure. Not huge, but not small either. Money I didn't have but would find somewhere. "I'll send it next week," I said. And I did. I picked up an extra cleaning shift, worked until 2 in the morning scrubbing floors so my son could have nice clothes to impress people at college. This became the pattern. Adrian would call, need something. Books were more expensive than expected. His laptop died and he needed a new one for his classes. There was a study abroad opportunity that would look great on his resume but cost extra. Every time I found the money, somewhere, somehow. I ate less so Adrian could have more. I turned the heat down in winter and wore extra sweaters so I could afford his textbooks. I drove my car until it literally wouldn't start anymore because every spare dollar was going toward his education. My coworkers noticed. "Gloria, you're losing weight," one of them said. "You feeling okay?" "I'm fine, just busy." "You work too much. You're going to burn out." Maybe, but Adrian was going to graduate. That's what mattered. 4 years passed. I watched from the audience at his graduation, sitting in the nosebleed section because I'd bought my ticket late. Couldn't afford it until the last minute. I watched my son walk across that stage in his cap and gown, accepting his diploma, and I cried. All of it had been worth it. Every sacrifice, every missed meal, every exhausted morning, worth it. Adrian got a job right out of college, sales position at a mid-sized tech company, good salary, benefits, room for advancement. He moved to the city 2 hours away, got an apartment, started his career. "I did it, Mom," he said when he called to tell me about the job offer. "I couldn't have done it without you. Everything you sacrificed, everything you gave up, I'm going to make it worth it. I'm going to make you proud." "You already make me proud," I said. "I'm going to take care of you someday. When you retire, when you can finally stop working these crazy hours, I'm going to pay you back for everything." I believed him. God help me, I believed every word. Adrian met Melissa 6 months into his new job. She worked in marketing at the same company. Pretty girl, ambitious, always dressed perfectly, always said the right things. They got engaged after a year of dating. The wedding was small. They paid for most of it themselves, which I was grateful for because I had nothing to contribute. I wore a dress I bought from a thrift store and altered myself, sat in the front row and watched my son get married and felt happy for him. After the wedding, the calls became less frequent. Once a week became once every 2 weeks, then once a month, then only on holidays. "How are you, Mom?" "I'm good, sweetheart. How are you and Melissa?" "Busy. Work's crazy, but good. Really good." Brief conversations, surface level. He'd ask how I was doing, and I'd say fine, even though I was exhausted and lonely and still working 2 jobs to pay off those Parent Plus loans, still paying for his education years after he'd graduated. But that was okay. He was busy building his life. That's natural. That's what children do. They grow up and build their own lives. 2 years after the wedding, Adrian called with news. "Mom, I'm getting promoted. Senior sales manager, huge raise, corner office. This is everything I've been working toward." "Adrian, that's wonderful. I'm so proud of you." "Thanks, Mom. It's been a lot of work, but it's finally paying off." "You deserve it, sweetheart." "We're throwing a celebration dinner next Saturday at Rousseau's." Rousseau's, the nicest restaurant in the city. The kind of place I'd never been to because I couldn't afford appetizers there, let alone a full meal. "That sounds lovely," I said. "Yeah, we're inviting my boss, some colleagues, friends. Going to be a good time." I waited for him to invite me, waited for him to say, "And of course, I want you there, Mom." He didn't. The silence stretched. "Well, congratulations again, sweetheart," I finally said. "You've worked very hard for this." "Thanks, Mom. I gotta run. Melissa and I have dinner reservations. Talk soon?" "Of course. Love you." "Love you too." He hung up. I sat there with the phone in my hand, staring at nothing. He hadn't invited me to his celebration dinner. For the promotion I'd helped make possible by sacrificing everything to put him through college. He'd invited his boss and colleagues and friends, but not his mother. Maybe he forgot, I told myself. He was busy and excited, and it slipped his mind. He'll call back and invite me. He didn't call back. The days passed. Saturday got closer. I kept expecting a call, an email, a text. Something. Nothing. Saturday morning arrived. I woke up thinking maybe today he'd remember. Maybe he'd call and say, "Mom, I can't believe I forgot to invite you. Please come tonight." My phone stayed silent. I tried to distract myself, cleaned my apartment, watched TV, made lunch I barely ate, kept checking my phone even though I knew it was pointless. Evening came. The dinner would be starting soon. Adrian would be at Rousseau's with all those people, celebrating, without me. I couldn't help myself. I opened Facebook, went to Melissa's profile. She posted constantly pictures of their perfect life, their perfect apartment, their perfect date nights. And there it was. Posted 20 minutes ago, a photo of Adrian at Rousseau's. He was standing in the middle of a large group, holding a glass of champagne, smiling that confident smile. His boss was there. I recognized him from photos Adrian had shown me years ago. Colleagues in expensive suits, friends I'd never met, even distant relatives. Adrian's cousin James, who I hadn't seen in 5 years, apparently important enough to invite. The caption read, "Celebrating my amazing husband's promotion to senior sales manager. So proud of everything you've accomplished. Here's to the next chapter." Proud wife. Promotion, success. I stared at that photo, at my son surrounded by people who mattered to him. I wasn't there. I wasn't even mentioned. I scrolled through the comments. People congratulating Adrian, saying he deserved it, saying they were proud of him. Not one person asked where his mother was, because nobody knew I existed. Nobody knew about the 2 jobs, or the Parent Plus loans, or the meals I'd skipped, or the years I'd sacrificed. They saw a successful young man who'd worked hard and earned his promotion. They didn't see me, the foundation he'd built that success on. I sat on my couch in my small apartment with my phone in my hand and let myself feel it. The hurt, the betrayal, The crushing realization that my son had forgotten me, or worse, hadn't forgotten, had made a deliberate choice not to invite me. Not important enough, not impressive enough, not polished enough to fit in with his new life. I was the mother who worked at a grocery store and cleaned office buildings, the mother who never went to college, the mother who didn't know how to network or personal brand or whatever else Adrian's world valued. I was an embarrassment, something to be hidden away. The tears came then. Hard, painful tears that made my chest hurt. I'd given him everything I had, everything I was, and he couldn't even invite me to dinner. I cried until I couldn't cry anymore, until I was empty and exhausted and something inside me had fundamentally changed. I'd spent 30 years sacrificing for my son, putting his needs before mine, going without so he could have more, and he'd repaid me by leaving me out of one of the biggest moments of his life. That's when I remembered something important, the car. 2 years ago, right after Adrian got his first promotion to sales manager, he called me excited. "Mom, I need a new car. The one I have is falling apart and I'm meeting with clients now. I need something that looks professional, something that says, I'm successful." That makes sense, sweetheart. The problem is, I don't have the credit history for a good loan, and the interest rates they're offering me are insane. But if you co-signed, I could get a much better deal. Would you be willing to do that? Co-sign. Put my name on his loan. Make myself legally responsible if he couldn't pay. "What kind of car are we talking about?" I asked. He named a luxury brand, told me the monthly payment, $3,800 a month. My stomach dropped. That was more than my rent. "Adrian, that's a lot of money." "I know, Mom, but it's an investment in my career. Image matters in sales, and I promise I'll make every payment. You won't have to worry about a thing. I just need your name on the paperwork to get the interest rate down." I should have said no. Should have told him to buy something more affordable. Should have protected myself. But I didn't. "Okay," I said. "If it's going to help your career, okay." We went to the dealership together. I signed all the papers, put my name next to his, made myself responsible for a car that cost more than I made in 6 months. Adrian drove off the lot in his new luxury sedan, excited and grateful. "Thanks, Mom. This means everything. I promise you won't regret this." And for 2 years, it was fine. The payments came out of his account automatically. I never thought about it until 3 months ago. I got an email from the leasing company. Payment overdue, 30 days late. I called Adrian immediately. "Sweetheart, I got an email about your car payment. It says it's late?" "Oh, that. Yeah, sorry, Mom. I had some unexpected expenses last month. Cash flow thing, I'll catch it up." "Okay. But Adrian, that payment is under my name too. If you don't pay, it affects my credit." "I know. I'll take care of it. Don't worry." He paid it. 2 days later. Crisis averted. Except it happened again the next month. Another late payment. Another phone call. "Adrian, the car payment is late again." "I know, Mom. Sorry. Things have been tight with Melissa not working right now." "Melissa's not working. She quit her job, needed a break, too much stress. But she'll find something soon. It's fine." "But the car payment? I'll pay it. I always do. It's just sometimes a few days late. No big deal." Except it was a big deal. Late payments were tanking my credit score. The credit score I'd spent decades building and protecting. "Adrian, you promised when I co-signed that I wouldn't have to worry about this. And you don't. I'm handling it. Just give me a little grace, okay? Grace. He wanted grace. After I'd given him everything, that's when I realized something. The payments weren't just late. They were late because Adrian wasn't making them at all. I called the leasing company directly. "Hi, I'm Gloria Martinez. I'm a co-signer on account number." "Yes, Ms. Martinez. How can I help you?" "I'm calling about the payment history. The last few months have been late." "Yes, ma'am. We've had some issues with the primary account holder. The last 2 payments were actually made by calling in with a credit card rather than the automatic withdrawal that was set up." My credit card. He'd been calling and using my credit card information he had from years ago when I'd helped him with something else, to make the payments. Wait, so the payments are coming from my credit card? "Yes, ma'am. For the last 2 months. My hands shook as I checked my credit card statement online. There they were. 2 charges for $800 each, made on dates I didn't recognize. Payments I hadn't authorized. Adrian wasn't paying for his car. I was, and he'd been doing it behind my back, using my credit card without asking. I called him back. He didn't answer. I left a voicemail. "Adrian, call me back immediately. We need to talk about the car payments." He called back 3 hours later. "Hey, Mom. Sorry, I was in meetings. What's up?" "You've been charging the car payments to my credit card without asking me." Silence. "Adrian, I was going to tell you. I just needed to get through a rough patch. Melissa's job search is taking longer than expected, and we had some unexpected expenses, and I didn't want to worry you." "You didn't want to worry me, so you stole from me." "I didn't steal. I was going to pay you back." "When? When were you going to pay me back?" "Soon, when things stabilize." Things have been stabilizing for 3 months. That's over $11,000, Adrian. Money I don't have. Money I've now borrowed on a credit card that charges interest. "I know. I'm sorry. I'll figure it out." "You'll figure it out." "Yes, I promise. Just give me a little more time." Time, grace, patience, trust. I've been giving him those things his entire life. And now, sitting on my couch, staring at that Facebook photo of Adrian celebrating his promotion without me, I made a decision. No more. The next morning, I called the leasing company. "Hi, I need to remove myself as a co-signer from an auto lease." "I'm sorry, ma'am, but you can't remove yourself from an active lease. The only way off is if the primary account holder refinances in their name only, or if the lease is terminated." "What happens if I stop making the payments?" "Then the vehicle would be repossessed, and both you and the primary account holder would be responsible for any remaining balance and fees." "And if I'm the only one who's been making the payments?" "Then the vehicle would be repossessed." "Okay, thank you." I hung up, opened my banking app, found the automatic payment I'd set up 3 months ago when I realized Adrian wasn't paying. The payment that was scheduled to come out tomorrow. I deleted it. Then I blocked the leasing company from charging my credit card. Adrian's $800 car payment wasn't getting paid this month, or next month, or ever again. He wanted to celebrate his success without me? Fine. But he'd be doing it without my money, too. I felt calm, clearer than I'd felt in months, maybe years. I wasn't doing this out of anger. I was doing it out of clarity. Adrian had made his priorities clear. His image, his career, his new life that didn't include his mother. So I was making my priorities clear too. My financial stability, my future, my dignity. I didn't call Adrian to tell him. Didn't send a text or email. Let him figure it out when the payment didn't go through. 3 days passed. My phone stayed silent. Then, on the 4th day, my phone rang. Adrian. I let it go to voicemail. He called again and again. 5 calls in 2 hours. I finally answered the 5th call. "Mom, thank God, I've been trying to reach you. Are you okay?" "I'm fine." The car payment didn't go through. The leasing company called me. They said you stopped the automatic payment. I did. Silence. Why? "Because I'm not paying for your car anymore, Adrian." "What?" "Mom, you can't just... We had an agreement. We had an agreement that you would make the payments and I would co-sign. You broke that agreement 3 months ago when you stopped paying and started secretly charging my credit card. I was going to pay you back." "No, you weren't. You were going to keep taking my money for as long as I let you, just like you've been taking everything else your whole life. That's not fair." "You're right, it's not fair. None of this is fair, but it's done. I'm not paying for your car anymore. If you want to keep it, you'll need to figure out how to make the payments yourself." "Mom, I can't afford $3,800 a month right now. If the payment doesn't go through, they'll repossess the car." "Then they'll repossess the car." "I need that car for work. How am I supposed to meet with clients without a car?" "I don't know, Adrian. Maybe buy something you can actually afford. Maybe make different choices. Maybe remember that your mother exists and invite her to your celebration dinners." The words came out calm, steady, not angry, just true. "Is that what this is about?" Adrian's voice changed. "The dinner? You're mad about the dinner?" "I'm not mad. I'm clear. For the first time in a long time, I'm clear about where I stand in your life." "Mom, I'm sorry I didn't invite you. I should have. That was wrong. But you can't just destroy my credit and take away my car because of one mistake." "One mistake?" "Adrian, you've been using my credit card without permission for 3 months. You've been lying to me. You've been taking advantage of me. The dinner was just the moment I finally saw clearly what's been happening for years. This is insane. You're being insane." And there it was, the moment when he stopped apologizing and started attacking. "Maybe I am," I said quietly, "but I'm done being your backup plan. I'm done being your emergency fund. I'm done sacrificing so you can live a life that doesn't include me. Fine. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it all out without you. Good luck, Adrian." I hung up. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding. But I didn't cry. I'd made my choice. And for better or worse, I was standing by it. 3 days later, Adrian showed up at my door. 3 days later, Adrian showed up at my door. I was making tea when I heard the knock. Loud, insistent, not a polite knock, an angry one. I looked through the peephole. Adrian. His face was red, his jaw tight. Behind him, Melissa stood with her arms crossed, looking equally furious. I took a breath, opened the door. "Hi, Adrian. We need to talk." He pushed past me into my small living room. Melissa followed, her heels clicking sharply on my worn linoleum floor. "Come in," I said quietly, closing the door. Adrian spun around to face me. "They repossessed my car this morning, showed up at my office, in front of my colleagues, in front of my boss. Do you have any idea how humiliating that was?" "I can imagine. Can you? Can you really? Because I don't think you understand what you've done." I walked to my kitchen, turned off the kettle, poured my tea slowly, let the silence stretch. "Mom, are you even listening to me?" "I'm listening." "Then say something." I turned to face him, looked at my son. at the man I'd sacrificed everything for, at the stranger standing in my living room acting like I'd wronged him. What do you want me to say, Adrian? I want you to explain why you sabotaged my career, why you're trying to ruin my life. I stopped paying for a car I couldn't afford. That's not sabotage. That's self-preservation. You could have talked to me first, given me warning, given me time to figure something out. Like you gave me warning before you started charging my credit card without permission. Melissa stepped forward. Mrs. Martinez, I think you're being unreasonable. Adrian made a mistake. He apologized. But what you did was vindictive and cruel. I looked at her. This woman who'd quit her job and was living off my son's salary. This woman who posted pictures of their perfect life online while I struggled to pay off the loans that had made that life possible. Cruel, I repeated. You think it's cruel that I stopped paying for a car that costs more than my monthly income? You're his mother, Melissa said. You're supposed to support him. I have supported him. For 30 years, I worked 2 jobs to put him through college. I took out loans that will take me the rest of my life to pay off. I sacrificed everything so he can have opportunities I never had. And when did that support end, Melissa? When is it enough? When your child needs you, she said sharply. That's when it's enough. When they actually need your help. He didn't need a $3,800 a month car. He wanted it. There's difference. Adrian ran his hand through his hair. Okay, fine. Maybe I made some poor financial decisions. But Mom, they took my car from my office parking lot. Everyone saw. How am I supposed to face my boss now? How am I supposed to meet with clients? The same way millions of people do. Buy a car you can afford, take public transportation, figure it out. I just got promoted. I need to look successful. Or maybe you need to be successful instead of just looking like it. The words hung in the air between us. Adrian's face changed. The anger shifted to something else, something wounded. Why are you doing this? He asked quietly. What did I do that was so terrible that you'd hurt me like this? And there it was, the question I'd been waiting for. I set down my tea, walked to my couch, sat down, looked at my son. You really don't know? No, I don't. The dinner, Adrian. Your celebration dinner. He blinked. What? 2 weeks ago, you got promoted. You threw a big celebration at Rousseau's, invited your boss, your colleagues, your friends, even cousin James, who you haven't spoken to in 5 years. Recognition flickered across his face. You didn't invite me, I said simply. Your mother. The person who sacrificed everything so you could get that education, that job, that promotion. I wasn't important enough to include. Mom. I found out from Facebook, from a picture Melissa posted. I sat in this apartment alone while you celebrated with everyone who mattered to you, and I realized I wasn't one of them. Melissa's expression shifted. Guilty. She looked down. Adrian opened a mouth, closed it, opened it again. I just thought. What did you think? It was a work thing, professional. I didn't think you'd be interested. You didn't think I'd be interested in celebrating my son's success. You don't know those people, my boss, my colleagues. You'd have felt out of place. And there it was, the truth he'd been dancing around. You were embarrassed, I said. Not a question, a statement. No, that's not. Yes, it is. You were embarrassed of me. Your mother, who works at a grocery store and cleans office buildings, who didn't go to college, who doesn't fit into your shiny new life. That's not fair, isn't it? When was the last time you invited me to anything, Adrian? When was the last time you introduced me to your friends, your colleagues? When was the last time you acknowledged where you came from? He didn't answer, couldn't answer. You wanted to look self-made, I continued, successful on your own merit, and I was a reminder that you weren't, that someone else paid the price for your success. Mom, please. I'm not angry, Adrian. I'm just done. Done pretending this relationship is something it's not. Done sacrificing for someone who can't even invite me to dinner. Melissa sat down in my worn armchair. She looked small suddenly, young. He talks about you sometimes, she said quietly, about how hard you worked, how much you gave up. He does appreciate it. Just not enough to include me in his life. Melissa didn't respond. What could she say? Adrian sat down too, on the opposite end of my couch. He looked exhausted. I messed up, he said finally. I messed up badly, the dinner, the car payments, all of it. I took advantage of you and I'm sorry. Okay, that's it? What do you want me to say? I want you to forgive me. I want things to go back to how they were. They can't. Why not? Because I finally saw clearly. I saw that you'll take as much as I'm willing to give and it will never be enough. And I can't do that anymore. I have to protect myself, even if that means protecting myself from you. Adrian's eyes filled with tears, real tears, not manipulative ones, genuine hurt. You're my mom. You're supposed to love me no matter what. I do love you. I'll always love you. But love doesn't mean letting you drain me dry. Love doesn't mean sacrificing myself until there's nothing left. So what now? You just cut me off? After everything? Not cut off. Boundaries. I'll be your mother. I'll support you emotionally. I'll be here if you need advice or someone to talk to. But I'm not your bank account anymore. I'm not your emergency fund. I'm not your backup plan. I don't have money for a new car, Adrian said helplessly. The repossession destroyed my credit. No one will give me a loan now. Then buy something cheaper. Save up. Work toward it. How am I supposed to meet with clients without a car? You'll figure it out. You're smart. You're resourceful. You went to a good college. The irony wasn't lost on any of us. Melissa cleared her throat. I got a job offer yesterday, marketing coordinator at a startup. I was going to turn it down because the salary isn't great, but maybe I should take it. Adrian looked at her sharply. You said you needed more time off. I know what I said, but clearly we need the money, and maybe it's time I contributed more instead of expecting your mom to cover everything. Something shifted in the room, a small thing, but noticeable. The Parent Plus loans, I said. The ones I took out to pay for your college. I've been paying them for 10 years. I have another 15 years of payments left. Adrian looked at me, really looked at me. Maybe for the first time in years. How much? The monthly payment is $680 every month for 15 more years. Jesus, Mom! I never told you because I didn't want you to feel guilty. I wanted you to focus on building your life. But those loans are crushing me. I'm 68 years old and I'll be paying them until I'm 83, if I live that long. Why didn't you say something? Because what would you have done? You were building your career, starting your life. I didn't want to be a burden. But you're struggling. I've been struggling for 30 years, Adrian. That's not new. He was quiet for a long moment, then, I'll start making payments on the loans. What? The Parent Plus loans. They're for my education. I should be paying them. Not you. I'll call them tomorrow and set up automatic payments from my account. You can't afford that. Not with your car situation and Melissa not working. I'll figure it out. Like you said, I'll work toward it. Cut back on other things. But those loans are my responsibility, not yours. I didn't believe him. Not really. He'd promised before and not followed through, but I nodded. Okay. I mean it this time. I know I've let you down. I know I've been selfish, but I want to do better. I want to be the son you deserve. We'll see. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet, but it was something. Adrian stood up. Melissa followed. They moved toward the door. Can I come visit you? Adrian asked at the threshold. Next month? Just to see you. Not ask for anything. Just spend time with you. If you want. I do. I really do. They left. I closed the door behind them and stood in my quiet apartment. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel vindicated. I just felt tired. But also something else. Something I hadn't felt in a long time. I felt like I mattered. Like my needs mattered. Like I was a person. Not just a resource to be used. It was a start. The next week, I got a notification from the loan servicer. Adrian had made a payment, $680, exactly what I'd been paying every month. I stared at the notification for a long time. He'd actually done it. One payment didn't erase 30 years of taking me for granted, but it was something. Over the next month, Adrian called twice. Not asking for anything, just talking. About work, about life, about nothing in particular. How are you doing, Mom? I'm okay. How are you? Managing. Melissa started her new job. She actually likes it, and I bought a used Honda. Nothing fancy, but it runs. That's good. Yeah, it's different. Humbling, but good. We talked for 20 minutes. When we hung up, I realized something. We'd had an actual conversation. Not me listening to Adrian talk about his life while I smiled and nodded. An actual back and forth. It had been years since that happened. The second month, another loan payment came through. Then a third. After the fourth payment, I called him. You're still making the payments? I told you I would. I didn't think you'd follow through. I know. I wouldn't have believed me either, but I'm trying, Mom. I'm really trying to be better. I can see that. Can I come visit this weekend? Bring Melissa? We could take you to lunch. Nothing fancy. Just lunch. I hesitated. Part of me wanted to say no, to protect myself from more disappointment, but another part of me wanted to say yes, to give him a chance. Okay, I said. Lunch would be nice. They came that Saturday, picked me up in Adrian's used Honda, took me to a local diner, not expensive, not trying to impress anyone, just a regular place with good food. We talked about their jobs, about Melissa's new co-workers, about Adrian's attempts to rebuild his credit, and they asked about me. About my work, about my friends from the grocery store, about my life. It was strange. Being asked, being included. Mom, Adrian said over coffee, I've been thinking about everything, about how I treated you. And I realize I never said this properly. Thank you for everything you sacrificed, for putting me through college, for the loans you took out, for all of it. I couldn't have gotten here without you. You're welcome, and I'm sorry for taking you for granted, for being embarrassed of you, for not inviting you to the dinner, for all of it. I looked at my son, saw genuine remorse in his eyes. I forgive you, I said, and I meant it, not because he deserved it, not because everything was fixed, but because holding on to the hurt was exhausting. And forgiveness was for me, not him. Adrian's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you. But things are different now," I continued. "I'm not your safety net anymore. I can't be. I have to take care of myself." "I know, and I'm glad you're doing that. You deserve that." It wasn't perfect. Our relationship wasn't magically healed. There was still hurt, still distance, still years of damage to repair, but it was honest, and that was more than we'd had in a long time. 6 months passed. Adrian kept making the loan payments, every single month, never late. He visited once a month, sometimes more, called every week, asked about my life, and actually listened to the answers. Melissa and I developed something like a relationship, not close, but cordial. She'd send me photos of things she thought I'd like, recipes, funny memes, small gestures that showed she was thinking of me. My coworkers noticed the change. "Gloria, you seem happier lately," one of them said. "Do I?" "Yeah, lighter somehow. What's going on?" "My son and I are rebuilding our relationship. It's slow, but it's happening." "That's wonderful." It was, but it was also complicated, because even as things improved with Adrian, I realized something important. I'd spent so many years defining myself by my relationship with him, by what I could do for him, by how much I could sacrifice. And now I had to figure out who I was beyond that. I started small, joined a book club at the local library, something I'd always wanted to do but never had time for because I was always working. The first meeting felt awkward. I was nervous, didn't know anyone, almost left before it started. But I stayed, and it was nice, talking about books, sharing opinions, being Gloria the person, not Gloria the mother or Gloria the employee. I cut back my hours at the cleaning company. Not completely, I still needed the money, but from 5 nights a week to 3. Use those extra evenings to rest, to read, to exist without exhausting myself. It meant less money, tighter budget, but also less pain, less exhaustion, less feeling like I was running on empty all the time. For the first time in decades, I put myself first, and it felt strange and guilty and also right. 1 year after the car repossession, Adrian called with news. "Mom, I need to tell you something." My stomach clenched. Here it comes. The request, the need, the reverting back to old patterns. "What is it?" "I got another promotion, regional sales director, significant raise." "Adrian, that's wonderful. Congratulations." "Thanks. And Mom, I'm throwing a small celebration dinner. Nothing big, just close family, and I want you there. Actually there. Not as an afterthought, as the guest of honor." I was quiet. "Will you come?" he asked. "Please?" "Yes," I said. "I'll come." The dinner was at a nice restaurant, not Rousseau's. Adrian said he'd never go back there after what happened, but somewhere warm and comfortable. It was small. Just Adrian, Melissa, me, and Melissa's parents. Adrian stood up during dinner and raised his glass. "I want to make a toast," he said, "to my mom. Everything I have, everything I've accomplished is because of her sacrifices. She worked 2 jobs, took out loans, gave up everything so I could have opportunities she never had. And for a long time, I took that for granted. I didn't appreciate it, didn't honor it, but I'm trying to do better now. Mom, thank you for everything. I love you." Everyone raised their glasses. "To Gloria," I cried, right there at the table, couldn't help it. Because this is what I'd needed. Not the money back, not the sacrifices repaid, just acknowledgement, recognition, being seen. After dinner, Adrian walked me to my car. "How are the loan payments going?" I asked. "Still managing okay?" "Yeah." Actually, I wanted to talk to you about that. I've been doing the math. At this rate, I'll have them paid off in 12 years instead of 15. Adrian, you don't have to. I want to. Those loans are for my education, my opportunity. I should be the one paying them, not you. Thank you. No, thank you. For everything. For not giving up on me even when I gave you every reason to. You're my son. I'll never give up on you. I know, and I'm trying to be worthy of that. We hugged. A real hug. Not a quick obligation hug. A genuine, loving hug. I'm proud of you, I said. Not for the promotions or the job, for growing up, for becoming someone who keeps his word. I'm trying to be like Dad, Adrian said quietly. He always kept his promises. I want to be that kind of man. You're getting there. It's been 2 years now since I stopped paying for Adrian's car. 2 years since everything fell apart and slowly started coming back together. Adrian still makes the loan payments. Every month. Without fail, he visits regularly, calls weekly, includes me in his life in ways he never did before. Melissa and I have gotten closer. She's admitted things about their marriage, about the pressure Adrian puts on himself, about his fear of failure, about how seeing his car repossessed was humiliating, but also a wake-up call. Last month, they told me they're expecting a baby, my first grandchild. We want you involved, Melissa said. Really involved. Not just cards and phone calls. We want you to know this baby, to be part of their life. I cried when they told me. Happy tears this time. I'm not rich. I'm still working at the grocery store, still paying off debt, still living in my small apartment. But I'm okay. More than okay. I'm free. Free from the weight of carrying someone else's life on my shoulders. Free from the obligation to sacrifice until there's nothing left. Free to be a person, not just a resource. And my relationship with Adrian is better than it's been in years. Not perfect, still complicated, still carrying the weight of everything that happened, but honest, real, built on mutual respect instead of one-sided sacrifice. That's all I ever wanted, to be seen, to be valued, to matter, and now I do. Looking back, I don't regret stopping the car payments. It was the catalyst that forced both of us to face the truth about our relationship, about what was broken and what needed to change. If I'd kept sacrificing, kept giving, kept enabling, we'd still be in that toxic pattern. Me giving everything, him taking everything, both of us pretending it was normal. The car repossession hurt him, embarrassed him, forced him to grow up, and it freed me. Gave me permission to say no, to prioritize myself, to demand better. Sometimes love means letting people face consequences, even when it hurts, even when you want to protect them. Because real love isn't about sacrifice. It's about mutual respect, about showing up for each other, about both people contributing to the relationship. And that's what we have now, finally. After all these years, it's not the relationship I thought we'd have, but it's real and honest and built on a foundation that can actually last. My son learned that promises matter, that actions speak louder than words, that you can't build a life on someone else's back and expect them to carry you forever. And I learned that it's okay to say no. That self-preservation isn't selfish. That I matter too. We both grew up. Just took us 30 years to get there. People ask me sometimes if I'd do it differently, if I'd change anything about how I raised Adrian. And honestly, I don't know. I'd still work hard to give him opportunities. I'd still sacrifice to make his life better. But I'd also teach him earlier about gratitude, about responsibility, about the cost of the gifts he was given. I'd set boundaries sooner, demand respect sooner, stop enabling sooner. I'd love him just as much, but I'd also love myself more, because that's the thing they don't tell you about being a parent. You're so focused on giving your child everything that you forget to save anything for yourself. And then one day you wake up and realize you've disappeared. You've become nothing but a giver, a source, a means to an end. And you have to fight to become a person again. That's what I did. I fought, and I won. Not against Adrian, against the pattern, the expectation, the belief that mothers are supposed to sacrifice endlessly without question. I broke that pattern for both of us, and now we have something better, something real. My son keeps his promises now, shows up when he says he will, values what I gave him because he finally understands the cost, and I matter, in his life and in my own. That's all I ever wanted, to matter. What would you do if this happened to you? Tell me in the comments. I always read them, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more true life stories like mine.